Just out of curiosity, your thought, speaking of goalies, our friend Pete DeBoer benched the Dallas goalie with just 2 goals scored on him in the first period,
7 minutes in.
albeit
7
on
minutes
2
in.
shots. The 2 goals let in on 2 shots on goal. And he said after the game, I saw Pete DeBoer after the game, and he was like, yeah, this guy's lost 6 of 7 against Edmonton, and I needed to shake things up quickly. Were you shocked by that? And now looking back on it, did you think it was the right move or the wrong move?
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know more about hockey than Paul Maurice's good friend Pete DeBoer, but I don't know how, even despite Jake Ottinger's start to that game and the previous run against these Oilers the last 2 years in the playoffs, how you can go down an elimination game without your starting goalie, who has been one of the best goaltenders in all the NHL. Like, I don't know how.
Mark Messier ripped him I was watching the broadcast last night, and Mark Messier ripped him.
He said, look, that's a move you make in January when it's still the regular season and you're trying to shake up a game, not when your backs are against the wall and you have to have this game. All due respect to Casey DeSmith. Sure, Casey's, I don't know if he is or not. He might not actually be a nice guy. But for this conversation, let's just assume Casey DeSmith's a nice guy. He's a backup. He has no business being in that game in that spot. I'd rather go down, if I'm the Stars, with Jake Ottinger giving up 10 goals in an elimination game than Casey DeSmith playing a single second.
Everybody's ripping him today. Everybody. And by the way, the 2 goals, it's 2 goals on 2 shots in 7 minutes. I realize why that's frustrating. Bro, it was 2 defensive mistakes that led to the goals. The second goal is a turnover, and it's a 1-on-1 against Ottinger. Like, don't blame him. Blame your team for putting them in that position. And then for the goal that Casey DeSmith gave up, the third goal, like for Pete DeBoer to make that decision and then for that goal to go in is embarrassing. Like, he should have immediately went right back to Ottinger. I know you can't, but like, that was a brutal mistake. I don't know more hockey than Pete DeBoer Hawk. I'll tell you right now, that was a dumbass decision that he made. Dumbass decision.
And then he throws him under the bus in the press conference like that. Like, you can say that without saying that, right?
He was pretty direct.
Like, because honestly, like, when DeBoer puts it that way, like, okay, like, maybe understand it, but
then maybe just don't start him then.
Right. And there's no universe where Casey DeSmith is a better option than Jake Ottinger. And you don't leave him out to dry in public the way that Pete DeBoer did. And I'll take it a step further. Yeah, did Jake Ottinger play great in the series? No. The Stars won 6-3 in game 1 of the series. After that, they scored 5 goals in the final 4 games of the series. So maybe not all Jake Ottinger's fault.
I will say, though, Solana, his opinions on goalkeeping, after the first 2 games of the Toronto series, he called for Sergei Bobrovsky to be benched. I have the text.
I think Solana's just reverse jinxing everything.
Well, everything he says does work out great if you're an actual fan of the team. So continue with your hot takes. In fact, let's do headlines with Solana here, because we'll talk with Whittingham this hour. We'll talk plenty of Panthers with Appel up until 5 o'clock. He's going to be with us till 5, and then we will forge ahead in the 5 o'clock Funky Buddha happy hour on our own as we get you ready for the weekend. Here are your headlines with Alejandro Solana.
He really did throw Ottinger under the bus.
It was, but it's a call that you see so rarely made in a game with that kind of gravity, where you can't get yourself out of that call once you've pulled the plug on that. That's a permanent call for the rest of the game unless somebody gets injured. Can you go back to the
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
you can put it back, and there's nothing stopping you from it. And look, if he did this in game 3 of the series,
could he have put him back in? Period. Can you pull a goalie and then put him back in? I didn't know that.
He stays on the bench. Yeah. If Pete DeBoer wanted to make that move earlier in the series, even, like, okay, fine. The Oilers did that with Calvin Pickard and Stuart Skinner earlier in the postseason. Doing it in an elimination game at home, 7 minutes into the game, the Panthers fell behind 2-0 after the first period. The second goal Bob gave up wasn't great. Should Paul Maurice have pulled Sergei Bobrovsky after that?
Well, it's one of the things I always say that I love this Paul Maurice. He's unflappable. Paul Maurice would never do that.
Not only would he never do that, he would just straight up predict what was going to happen after that, like he did in the clinching game in Carolina. I don't know. Have you guys talked about that sound yet?
The mic'd up thing? We haven't, but it's fantastic.
He
Chucky's
goes
in his spot.
Chucky's in his spot, but he said at one point in there, you get one, we're going to get three. And they got the first one, immediately tied it, and then got a third in that period. Guy's awesome. I mean, come on.
Admittedly, I called for him to be fired 2 years ago.
Not me.
Yeah, you conveniently seem to forget about that every time you bring up my track record with the Panthers, by the way.
Literally just brought it up.
Well, he's trying to make this Liam Eichenberg thing happen, too. So maybe that's also...
All I'm saying, this gets twisted. All I'm saying about Liam Eichenberg is he's not the worst player on the line that you've ever seen.
Well,
and so... No, but the way people talk about Liam Eichenberg, it's like, oh, I see Liam Eichenberg out there, another lost season. And I'm like, what are we doing here? We're not going to feel that way 5 years from now.
Hoch, I'm pretty sure he consistently grades out as one of the worst linemen in the NFL.
Nah, I've seen worse linemen. Mark Colombo.
Oh, I almost called him Tony Colombo because I couldn't think of his name. that guy. Oh,
that guy was terrible.
God. Yeah, terrible.
You and I were both going through the Rolodex trying to get to Mark Colombo.
I'm like, Colombo, what's his first name? Was it Tony? Tony sounds like like a TV detective.
Because when I think of bad linemen, Dolphins linemen, I think of Jesse Davis. Like, that's where my mind goes immediately. But he genuinely was a serviceable lineman. Yeah. He just wasn't great at any position. So they just
Liam
consistently moved him.
Serviceable.
No.
Did you find out from somebody that he listens to the show or something? Is that what's happening here?
I'm just tired of everybody bashing Liam Eichenberg. Like, I mean... Get over yourselves. But people did. The example I was making was when we were talking about Aaron Ekblad. Like, people have done that with Ekblad. They don't do it anymore.
Okay, but Aaron Ekblad has a track record of being a really good player. Liam Eichenberg is not.
I bet he was in college.
Can't dispute that, I guess.
Eichenberg, according to PFF, permitted only 2 sacks, but his 29 pressures were 21st most allowed among NFL guards.
That's not bad. 21st most. So 20 guards let their quarterback get pressured more than Liam Eichenberg, and he only allowed 2 sacks? What are we doing here with Liam Eichenberg?
Those were the good stats. Here are the bad stats. PFF ranked Eichenberg, I gave Hoch a little life there, 69th among 77 qualifying guards last season, 51st as a run blocker, and 67th as a pass blocker.
Yeah, but I mean, that has a little bit to do with Tim Boyle and Snoop Huntley and who's the other guy? Skylar Thompson.
We say all this. Wait till you watch this guy Larry Borum play this year. Just wait. Have you seen that guy in Chicago? Whoa! Who was the other offensive lineman that you guys were obsessed with for a hot minute? Little.
Oh, yeah. You had, what was the guy's name?
Greg Little. And
Greg Little.
You'll never believe this. Today is Greg Little's birthday.
Whoa! I mean, insert 595 joke.
Happy birthday, Greg Little. Turns 35 today.
How about that? I was obsessed with him for a hot minute.
Well, we were obsessed with the story that he was having trouble finding the facility. Was it that? He got lost in traffic?
It was like, how are you acclimating to the team? Something like that. And he's like, I'm still learning directions, 595 and all that stuff. It was something along those lines, except they weren't practicing in Davie anymore. So if he was on 595, he was in the wrong spot because they were practicing, at Hard Rock. I think.
By the way, he turns 27, I think, not 35. I just Googled it.
How is it possible?
And also today's not his birthday. It's November 4th.
Your show
are we talking about the same guy?
So bad.
How is it possible? I have, of course, Greg Little the wide receiver as his birthday today, and I confused the two when I saw them on
What wide
NFL
receiver?
birthday lists. Greg Lamar Little. Played for the Cleveland
I have
Browns.
to tell you, your show sheets are so bad. They have not been updated in 5 years.
It's just
Today,
not true, though. It's just not true.
100% true, because we have the same mistakes every year because you copy and paste. Today is the 6-year anniversary of Eric Falero leaving this show.
No, it's not.
Today.
No, it's not. I will bet you. I will bet you any amount of money, paycheck to paycheck. Falero's last show was May 31st, 2019. May 31st is my birthday, which is why I remember Falero stayed.
It's tomorrow. I don't have a show.
Okay.
Well, I don't have a show on the air tomorrow.
Okay. I mean, you want to talk about anniversaries? I remember the
guy came out of the box like I was off by 8 months.
No, I mean, you're off.
I'm off by 9 hours for the sake of the show. I'm off by 9 hours.
Sorry.
So you think a celebrity birthday is Greg Lamar Little?
Greg Little played for the Cleveland Browns, Hawk, NFL player.
Yeah? Tell me a little about him.
His name's Greg.
Yeah. When's the last time you've updated a show sheet? Like the structure of it, not the, you know what I mean? Like, I know you put in the guests every day and all that stuff, the commercials. But like, when's the last time you updated on this date or celebrity birthday?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Yeah.
6 years.
And to be fair, Greg Little, the fact that there's 2 of them that played in the NFL and this one isn't our Greg Little, that's kind of out of my hands, if we're being 100% honest.
You know what? I'll give you that.
What do you mean out of his hands? He looked like he saw Greg Little's birthday somewhere, never bothered to check that it was our Greg Little.
Well, why would I check? I mean, it was Greg Little and he played in the NFL. I was like, oh, Greg Little's birthday. It made all the sense in the world, to be fair, Hawk.
I think of how cool it would have been if it was our Greg Little and we organically started talking about him.
It could have been if you didn't type Greg Little into the Google.
No one would have known.
Nobody would have double checked it, and this would have been a fantastic moment. Hawk and I
can't
wouldn't
believe
be mad
he's
at
only
each other.
27.
A lot of potential still, I feel like.
And here's the thing: next year, May 30th, on my show sheet, celebrity birthdays, it's gonna say Greg Lamar Little. I know what's gonna happen. He's not gonna remove Greg Little. He's gonna notate that it's Greg Lamar Little.
I probably won't. We'll just celebrate Greg Little turning 36. Congrats. All right. Some major South Florida news. Flanagan's has announced 2 new locations, and this isn't an April Fool's joke, which did get me on April 1st, that they were opening up a location in South Dakota.
Like Billings, Montana.
Yeah.
And Solana texts me in the morning. He's like, can you believe this? They're opening one in Montana. But now you know how he got bamboozled by Greg Lamar Little's birthday.
I know this doesn't necessarily apply to either of you because you live north of the Dade County line, but Cutler Bay and Homestead are receiving Flanagan's location. So congratulations to those of you who live in Southwest Miami-Dade.
Yeah.
Or just Southern Miami-Dade.
Congratulations to them. We love Flanagan's, but like, is it really an announcement that they're just making a couple others in Miami? Like a big expansion announcement will be like, oh, we're going to Orlando. Oh, we're going to Tampa. Like, enough with the we're making one 20 minutes away from another store.
Interesting. It's not a bad take.
They did this hullabaloo for this Homestead restaurant.
Big deal for people in Homestead, though.
Okay, but the Homestead people can drive 20 minutes to go to a different Flanagan's.
Oh, that's convenient for you.
They really can't, bro. Homestead is actually a lot farther. I think the closest one would be Kendall. And by the way, Kendall Flanagan is as slammed already as it possibly can be. The 3-hour wait every time I go to the Kendall Flanagan's on 88th. Like, this is huge. The people who live in Cutler Bay, Princeton, Goulds, they don't have to come up to Kendall anymore. They have 2 Flanagan's locations that they can go to now. This is
By the way,
huge.
Stephen Preciato pointing out you used to always confuse Garrett Cooper and Greg Cooper.
Man, he's so right about that too, man. But I'll still yell, cool.